Hello, welcome to Woodworking for Miniaturists. I'm David Knight, and this is the first of several episodes on tools and equipment. The best workspace and ideal set of tools and equipment for you will be different from my ideal kit. You'll discover what is best for you through a process of trial and error. My kit has developed mainly through experience with 1 to 12 scale dollhouses and wooden furniture. Yours will develop in the context of your preferred work. You are different from me in hand strength, eyesight, coordination, tolerance for tedium, monetary resources, and many other characteristics, all of which will shape your ideal kit. I'll present my experience and include the rationale for my choices, and I expect that you will be able to judge what applies to you and what does not. Some tools and equipment should be regarded as basic and essential, things that will be recommended by most instructors, things you should consider obtaining immediately. Other things are helpful if not essential. They may improve your results, and they may improve your experience, and you may want to obtain them as time and money allows. Some items I will warn you away from. First, let's discuss your workspace. We're going to do this by taking a look at the workspaces that I use, and hopefully this will trigger some ideas or help you with some decisions. They're not examples of ideal workspaces, but rather points of comparison and edification. I have the Big Boy workshop, which you saw in an earlier episode. Having a fully equipped woodworking shop may not be practical for you, but it might be, and I thought I would include it in these examples so you'd have a sense of the equipment that's useful for miniature work. This shop is equipped with a 220 volt 100 amp electric service, a dust collection system, plenty of light and outlets and major machines, including a table saw, a jointer planer, a large band saw, a router table, a chop saw, a lathe, and the new additions, a thickness sander, and a small band saw newly restored. Plus many handheld power tools, 2 woodworking benches, and a healthy population of spiders. As far as miniatures are concerned, the Big Boy shop is most useful for fabricating dollhouse floors, walls, ceilings, and roofs from plywood. As you saw in episode 2, fabricating thin stock from fine woods such as cherry and walnut is also something that the Big Boy shop helps us to do. Right next door to the Big Boy wood shop, in a lean-to part of the same barn, I have a motorcycle restoration and metalworking shop. Some aspects of miniature work are done there. This is where I have my anvil, drill press, sandblaster, air compressor, a heavy vise, grinders, a polishing wheel, and a paint booth. In the old summer kitchen at the back of the house is my workspace for all the powered benchtop woodworking tools. I use a pair of shop vacs for dust control, and much of my stock is kept there. The machines can be stowed away when not in use. There are 2 benches there, one which I built for my son when he was small. This is a proper workbench with a built-in face vise, where my small table saw lives pretty much permanently. My other bench is an old metal kitchen cabinet with an IKEA countertop. This is mainly a platform for my other benchtop power tools. I have 2 small lathes, a spindle sander, a combination disc and belt sander, a jigsaw, a small shaper, and jigs for the Dremel that turn it into a drill press and a router table. Some of these you might want to procure for yourself, and I'll go over their pros and cons in a future episode. On the shelf above the bench, in the old summer kitchen workshop, there are plastic storage containers with many small partitions, especially made for the obsessive-compulsive crafter. One of these days I'll show you that sable stash accumulated beyond life expectancy. And finally, I have my work table in the TV/craft room, where Lou and I live most of our waking hours. I recognize that I'm very fortunate to have been able to devote so much time, space, and resources to a thing that I do for fun. Much of what I've accumulated has been given to me, scrounged, or picked up on the cheap. I recommend that you keep your eyes open for similar opportunities, cast-off machines, and junk store gems. As you plan your workspace, think ergonomically. Strive for comfort. Get a chair that supports your back, that does not aggravate your hemorrhoids or other sore spots, and allows you to sit up straight and place your feet flat on the floor. Put a pillow behind your back to push yourself forward rather than leaning forward to work. Get up from your chair and take a walk once an hour, or do some of your work at a standing station. As a friend of mine said, sitting is the new smoking. Establish a work surface that is the right height for your arms and shoulders, that is of adequate size. You shouldn't have to adopt an awkward posture in order to use a saw or a carving tool. Your bench will need to be sturdy enough to withstand moderate hammer blows, heavy and stable enough to resist the thrust when you plane or sand a board. You may want to be able to clamp a vise or an arm-mounted light to your bench, so your bench should be strong enough to withstand that. Tools and supplies should be within easy reach. Adam Savage has written an excellent book entitled Every Tool is a Hammer, in which he treats the arrangement of good workspaces. A core principle of his approach is that every tool and material you will need should be within reach. As you can see in the picture, my miniature work area doubles as my computer work area, my TV viewing area, and my dog petting area. That's Bucko the pit bull, by the way, in his bed. Luann's craft area is on the other side of the same room. Miniature work can create a lot of dust, shavings, scraps, schnibbles, and just dust. So decide how you're going to manage that mess. I keep a small hand broom and dustpan near my work table, and I clear it off into that pan frequently and try to catch most things before they hit the floor. Still, the floor under my feet needs to be vacuumed pretty regularly. This is the craft room, after all, so we're not overly fussy. But for many, neatness is a potential source of interpersonal strife, so be sensitive to the needs of your housemates. I do my power tool work in the old summer kitchen where the machines are all attached to vacuums. Thus the noise and the sawdust are kept out of the main house. That's what summer kitchens were for in the first place, to keep the noise and the smells and the mess out of the main house. The work table you see here is an 18 by 34 inch sheet of 1/2 inch plywood, mounted on a red oak frame. I originally built that frame to hold a canvas stretcher for needlepoint work. It can be knocked down and packed away, although at this point I've not dismantled it for years. It has long feet that slide in under the couch, allowing me to pull it up close to myself. Since this photo was taken, I have replaced the 1/2 inch plywood with stiffer, flatter, and reinforced 3/4 inch plywood. It doesn't look much different at this point, but my pencil doesn't roll off anymore. And I have a flat reference surface, and you're going to hear me refer to a flat reference surface many times. It's very important. In the case of the table I'm working on, it's important for accurate assembly. The drawers in the IKEA cabinet bookcase next to my seat hold materials, tools, and supplies. Miniature books and plans are in the bookcase just above the cabinet. Lighting is of great importance. Ideally, your workspace should have a north-facing window to one side of your bench. Light from the north is diffuse and of moderate intensity. A north window is not a privilege that I have in any of my shops, so I have to make up the deficit with artificial light. An artificial light source consisting of a single incandescent bulb is the worst option. Whatever you want to see will consistently be in the shadow of your own hand. To eliminate shadows, light should come from several directions at once. Multiple lights, long fluorescent lights, strings or rings of LEDs are improvements over a single bulb. It is also helpful for at least one light source to be movable to adapt to various tasks. At my work table, I have a floor lamp over my left shoulder and a circular set of LED lights on a movable arm. I also use this circle light to illuminate these talking head videos. This lamp has a powerful magnifier built into the middle of the light circle. A hands-free magnifier like this is often useful for fine work. You can also get magnifying goggles, some of which have a headlamp built in. I keep a small flashlight handy to illuminate inside dollhouse rooms when I'm installing wallpaper or wooden trim, and I keep several sets of reading glasses at each workspace. As mentioned, tools and supplies should be within easy reach. I have a rack of tall receptacles, plastic containers from drink mixes, old Band-Aid tins, and 35mm film cans. My small tools are sorted into types in these tubes. My frequently used tools have their own separate slots in a wooden rack closest to hand. I'm never satisfied with this system and constantly rearrange it. I've rebuilt that rack, for example, several times. Certain consumable supplies should also be within easy reach. Keep paper towels and/or rags nearby. Newspapers can be used to cover your workspace when painting or staining, but who gets a newspaper anymore? I hang on to the brown paper that serves as packing in the packages that keep showing up at my door for some reason. I sometimes value that paper more than the purchased contents. I have to flatten it out, but it's a good size and fairly heavy. Consider a supply of latex or vinyl gloves, especially when using oil-based stains and finishes. That stuff does not come off your fingers for a while. I keep a supply of drinking water and a small supply of water in a plastic squirt jar, which is for thinning paints or other materials and for small cleaning jobs. I keep a glass half full of water for my paintbrushes. They go in there immediately to stay wet until I can get around to cleaning them. When you use materials that produce fumes, you should have some kind of ventilation. Some things are best done outside. A vent fan is good. An open window is better than nothing. A paint booth is ideal, and you can rig up your own. I have one in my motorcycle shop, which I'll demonstrate to you in a future video. Consider a face mask. Some substances will cause cancer, including some kinds of wood dust. Find out which woods are toxic and wear a face mask when producing that kind of sawdust. Think about how you dispense of toxins, combustibles, and sharps. It's probably a good idea to keep a fire extinguisher handy, especially when you use techniques that involve heat, such as soldering or baking polymer clays. Some of the materials you'll be using are flammable or even explosive. Many of your tools are sharp. If not, they should be. If young children are around, please take precautions. Keep them out of reach. Keep them locked away. I mean the sharp tools, not the kids. Send the kids to Grandma's house. Or if you're the grandma, send them home. As far as the arrangement of your space, be guided by these principles. Everything should have a place so that everything can be cleared away neatly. Everything should be close at hand and not buried under other things. In time, you'll find an arrangement that works for you, and then you'll improve it over and over.